Hello everybody, hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor, we're back here with another One Leeds video. Today, we're talking Jamie Shackleton. According to Phil Hay, there is potential that he's going to be offered a new deal. From what Phil was reporting, let me just get it up, everybody. When the summer started, you'd have put money on Jamie Shackleton leaving Leeds United, but he always catches the eye in pre-season. And he was a breath of fresh air for Daniel Farke, committed and itching to play, time for a new deal. Loads to discuss with this one. First and foremost, the fact that Leeds were looking at a left-back and a right-back, which, I mean, obviously it was getting Jed Spence, but was asking Burnley about Charlie Taylor. You know, was apparently interested in Timon, that deal moving on, and Leeds not been able to get that one done. Obviously, Luke Thomas, him going to Sheffield United. A utility man in the Championship, I don't mind a new deal. I know Millwall fans, I've been speaking to one in particular who was down there week in, week out, wasn't that enamoured by Jamie Shackleton. He's an okay player, he's a utility man, but where is the bar? And I think the thing we've got to discuss with this is longevity. If we're looking at a Premier League campaign next season and we've tied Jamie Shackleton down for 2 or 3 years, is this not the error that Leeds United made with Luke Ayling after a period of 4 to 5 really good games and then offering him a new contract, which has meant that, in essence, we're stuck with Luke Ayling. Some of you might be fine with that. I certainly am a little bit more. I would question the Luke Ayling contract a little bit more, and I did at the time. Jamie Shackleton, it's one of those things that I feel like the club are almost relying on a Leeds United fan base hysteria with regards to it. Jamie's had an okay start. He wouldn't have featured frequently if it wasn't for Sam Byram being out injured, someone who I still think shouldn't be featuring for Leeds United on a semi-permanent basis, and he is doing. I feel like if Leeds would have gone out and got a left back, and we'd have seen, Jed Spence would have got minutes in the tank a little bit, in pre-season or whatever, and he'd have been up to full speed. Leeds wouldn't have had even a scenario really where if you've got Sam Byram as rotation, if we've got a fully fledged left back, a fully fledged right back, Sam Byram would be used as rotation, and Jamie Shackleton wouldn't be in the equation. Leeds United, for me, haven't got ultimately the right business done on all fronts this summer window, as I think we all know. And this brings Jamie Shackleton into the equation of should he be starting week in, week out. I think Leeds have got to be careful here, and this is where it falls into the old regime of passion merchant tag. Jamie Shackleton's been okay. He's been all right. I think there's a real danger that the hysteria with him at the minute, hysteria is a dramatic word, a very dramatic word, but it is definitely associated with a lot of our supporters when it comes to players from the local area doing well and putting in 110% effort, which I think is a prerequisite for every single Leeds United player. I don't give a shit where you're from, as long as you put in 110% effort in for Leeds United. I think that's why there's always a clamour for Charlie Cresswell, because if you look at him in terms of a calibre of player, he's nowhere near Pascal Strout. But it's because he's from the local area, his dad played for the club, and he gives 110% effort, which Pascal Strout does, which for some reason, for some fans, puts Cresswell ahead of Strout. And that's where I always say subjectivity in football is a good thing, but that's not really a good thing, because you're not really looking at the facts there. It's just you're looking at where someone's from and how many times they smash the badge on the chest, which for me is superficial and something I don't really measure, to be honest, when I'm looking at a footballer's quality. And I think Jamie is someone who's come up through the product line. There's a lot of academy plaudits when it comes to him. A lot of people love him, what he's done. I think giving him a contract right now would be nuts. It would be batshit crazy, and it would be something that I feel would really be symptomatic of a previous regime reacting to a fan base's happiness over a player's performances. Personally, I don't think he's been that great. I think he's been okay. Sheffield Wednesday, you look at that performance, I thought a lot of it was him getting down the line, him unable to use his left foot, him passing a lot of the attention over to Willie Gnonto getting forward, Jamie getting beyond the halfway line, passing it off to Willie, and then continuing his run. And then when he gets into a certain area, him not being able to, as we saw in the first half a couple of times, when he was having to use his left foot, him struggling to connect with the ball fully. And he was offside, I think, on one of the occasions where he scuffed the ball. And you're thinking to yourself, if he's onside there, his connection with his left foot is poor. And that's what I always say when I'm talking about right footers on that left-hand side. They can't do it. They simply can't do it unless you are essentially ambidextrous and you are quality with your left as you are with your right. But players like Jamie Shackleton, who are like mid-average footballers, are not going to be able to be profitable on that left-hand side because he is sub with his left foot. So take everything out of the equation, all that sentiment, all that passion merchant hype, him coming through the Leeds Academy, him, going out on Millwall, learning the trade and then coming back to Leeds United. He's an okay footballer. And do you want to tie him down to a deal, 2 to 3 years, or knowing Leeds United, it could be a 3 to 4 year deal, and us dealing with the repercussions of this in the Premier League when we don't need a Jamie Shackleton. And Leeds United's contracts handing out these contracts in the past however many years have been the huge problem with the club. It's been a massive problem with the club. Handing out big contracts. I'm not saying Jamie will be on a big contract, but handing him a long-term contract because of 4 games, is it? 4 or 5 games max, where Sam Byram would have featured, as I've said, above him if he hadn't have got injured. Sam Byram, who should be rotation anyway, to a Charlie Taylor, a Luke Thomas, a Timon on that left-hand side. And I think Leeds will dip into that market. So I think sorry about that. I think the reactionary take is give him a contract. He's done so well as Jamie, and I get it, I understand it, but we've got to really measure the expectations of this football club. I get a utility man is essential at the back, but for me, Leeds are going to go out and invest in a fullback, a left back in January. So they do that, and Sam Byram's your utility man because you've got Jed Spence, you've got Luke Ayling, you've got Junior Firpo, who is there, unfortunately, but he is there. Your utility man is Sam Byram. Why on earth are you giving Jamie Shackleton a new contract in that scenario? So then you've got 2 utility men. We know even under the great Marcelo Bielsa, the utility man was Stuart Dallas at the back and in central midfield, to be fair, which is naturally where Jamie could fit in, but I think at a push, probably Byram could fit in as well. I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever, and I think it feels very reactionary. And I think if I would be a little bit disappointed if this was done, and it's almost a shame, in my opinion, that we're getting some of our top journalists peddling to this, because what is it based on? A new deal based on what? 5 games, of which how many has he featured for 90 minutes? And how many good performances has he put out? I understand it's a subjective question. I understand it's asking the public, but it's leading. And for me, there's been no real standout performances. The fact that he got man of the match was against the Sheffield Wednesday was staggering to me for the standard of performance it is. But this is the thing, it appeals to a lot of fans because he's putting in 110% effort and he's getting up and down. There's no way even in that match he's, in my opinion, I'm watching that match, and if I'm not reading anything online, there is one man of the match only, and we all know who that is. It is the absolute standout signing and the best signing the Championship has seen this season in Ethan Ampadu. It's Ethan Ampadu. Every game, it's pretty much Ethan Ampadu, but it's the try-hard stuff. You know, you saw against West Bromwich Albion, it's Dan James. If we're looking at a logistical standpoint, a logistical point of view, it's Ethan Ampadu in every game so far. He's been that good. And he's head and shoulders above everybody else. Hence why on this channel, we're saying he is a country mile and a half above Tyler Adams in that position. And that's why it was such an incredible signing, Ethan Ampadu, because he's got so many attributes to his game. This is a tangent, but this is the whole point, the consideration. It's the fact that it feels like there's a clamour for him because he's come through the academy and he's putting in 110% effort. If we're lumbered with Jamie Shackleton for another 2 to 3 years on sub-performances as a utility man, when we've already got a utility man who's better than Jamie Shackleton, What's the point? You know, what question are we asking here? Guys, fascinated on your take on this one. Let me know in the comment section below. We'll be back very soon. Cheers.